Sripad Paramhamsa Privajakachaja Astochara Satyashimat, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Swami, Sripad Ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Privajakachaja Astochara Satyashimat, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Antara Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki. Hitai Gaura Bhimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So this evening's text begins with Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 2. That's content of Gita summarized. Chapter 2, text 29. Chapter 2, text 29. Looks like most of you have the same type. Well, hardcover and softcover.
Softcover 92.
Softcover 92. Hardcover
96.
Hardcover 92, I doubt it.
96.
96 hardcover, okay. So, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 29. Please repeat. Acharya Vad Pashyati Kaschid Enam Acharya Vad Vedati Tatheva Chanya Acharya Vad Chainam Anya Srinoti Shrutvapi Enam Veda Na Cheva Kaschid Acharya Vad Pashyati Kaschid Enam Acharya Vad Pashyati Kaschid Enam Acharya Vad Bhadati Tatheva Chanya Acharya Vad Bhadati Tatheva Chanya Acharya Vad Chainam Anya Shrunoti Acharya Vad Chainam Anya Shrunoti Shudbhapyenam Veda Na Chaiva Kaschid Shudbhapyenam Veda Na Chaiva Kaschid Acharya Vad Pashyati Kaschidinam Acharya Vad Bhadati Tatheva Chanya Ascharya vachenam anya shunoti. Sudvapyenam vedana chaiva kasyet. Ascharya vad pashyati kaschidinam. Ascharya vad vadati tathaiva chanya. Ascharya vachenam anya shunoti. Shudvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschet. You can try. Please chant.
Ascharyavat pashyati kaschitenam.
Pashyati kaschidinam.
Ascharyavat vadati tatha vechenya. Ascharyavat chainam anasroti. Shrutvapi ema vedana cheva kaschit.
Ascharyavat pashyati kaschidinam.
Ascharya vad pashyati kaschidinam.
Ascharyavat vadati tathaiva chanya.
Ascharya vad vadati tathaiva chanya.
Ascharyavat chainam anya shinoti.
Ascharya vachenam anya shunoti.
Shrutvapiyenam vedana chaiva kaschit.
Sudvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschet.
Ascharya vad pasyati kaschidinam.
Ascharya vad pashyati kaschidinam.
Ascharya vad vadati tadev chanya.
Ascharya vad vadati tathaiva chanya.
Ascharya vad chanim anyashoniti.
Ascharya vachenam anya shunoti.
Shrutopi inam vedana chaiv kaschet.
Sudvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschet.
Ascharya vad pasyati kaschidinam.
Ascharya vad pashyati kaschidinam.
Ascharya vad vadati tathaiva chanya.
Ascharya vad vadati tathaiva chanya.
Ascharya vad chainam anya shinoti.
Ascharya vachenam anya shunoti.
Shudvapi enam vedana chaiva kaschit.
Sudvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschet. Anyone else?
Ascharya vad pashyati kaschidinam.
Ascharya vad pashyati kaschidinam.
Ascharya vad vadati tathaiva chanya.
Ascharya vad vadati tathaiva chanya.
Ascharya vad chainam anya shinoti.
Ascharya vachenam anya shunoti.
Shrutvapiyenam vedana chaiva kaschit.
Sudvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschet. Okay, now please repeat. Acharya vad as amazing. Pashyati sees. Kaschit someone. Enam this soul. Acharya vad as amazing. Vadati speaks of. Tata thus. Eva certainly. Cha also. Anya another. Ascharya vad similarly amazing. Cha also. Enam this soul. Anya another. Shrinoti hears of. Shudva having heard. Api even. Enam this soul. Veda knows. Na, never. Cha, and eva, certainly. Kaschit, someone. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Please repeat. Some look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. And some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Since Gita Upanishad is largely based on the principles of the Upanishads, it is not surprising to also find this passage in the Katha Upanishad 1-2-7. Shravanavapi bahubiryo labhya. No, you don't have to repeat. Shivantopi, unless you want to. Shivantopi bhavahu yamna vidyu. Ashayo bhakta kushalo labda. Ashayo gyata kusalanushishta. The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of a gigantic banyan tree, and also in the microbic germs, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with a poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge, who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the first living being in the universe. Owing to a gross material conception of things, most men in this age cannot understand how such a small particle can become both so great and so small. So men look at the soul proper as wonderful either by constitution or by description. Illusioned by the material energy, people are so engrossed in the subject matters for sense gratification that they have very little time to understand the question of self-understanding. Even though it is a fact that without this self-understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle for existence. Perhaps they have no idea that one must think of the soul and thus make a solution to the material miseries. Some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes, owing to ignorance, they are misguided by acceptance of the super soul and the atomic soul as one without distinction of magnitude. It is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the super soul. It is difficult to find a man who has actually derived full benefit from knowledge of the soul and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. But if somehow or other one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. Spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Krishna, without being deviated by other theories. But it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones, before one is able to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Om Ganati Mirandasya Dhyana Gana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mayam Dadansi Swa Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Tapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupa Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Visam Sam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakam Visamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripasindhya Evacha Patitanam Avanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavari Paschatya Deshacharini Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Padayati Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Goyati Se Namaha Ananda Lilamaya Vigrahaya Himabhya Divyachavi Sundaraya Tasmi Mahaprema Rasa Padaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Hare Krishna. So I'll read just the translation. I'll read the translation over again and then begging your permission and the guidance and permission from my spiritual master as well as Bhakti Swami, his spiritual master, Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, begging to be used as a means for them to preach to you. Translation. You don't have to repeat it. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So the last bit, they are very unfortunate. We can start from the bottom up. Some hear about the soul and cannot understand him at all, which means they don't know who they are. Because we're not these physical bodies. So if they can't understand the soul, and they have a soul inside these bodies, which means they don't understand themselves, which is very unfortunate. But a lot of people are like that. Some may know about the soul. Actually, I went to Lima, Ohio, not too long ago, to visit an old high school friend of mine and his wife. They were staying there. And the discussion came up, what they thought about life, what they thought about the soul, and so on. And so my friend, he said, he's a husband, he said he believes in the soul. In fact, he was reading some passage about a book, like an e-book version, and he got so involved in it that he actually bought the book. And there was somebody that, this was the author, that in many ways a devotee would say that he was speculating. But he was concluding that man does in fact have a soul. And so when he mentioned that, I definitely agreed with him, because we all know we do have souls. Then the question is, I'm asking him, where is it? He can't quite point to where it is. So that I give a very simple way. The soul is us. He believes that because he read it. The body is not us, the soul is us. Then I said, okay, I'll ask you a very dumb question, because that's how I start off usually. But I'm doing it to get to a point, so don't be too disturbed about it. Where's your nose? He pointed his nose. Where's your hand? He pointed his hand. Where's your leg? He pointed his leg. I said, but now when somebody says, where are you? Where do you usually point to? You go like this. Then you point to your heart. But your heart just pumps blood. So why you pump your heart? Your leg does something, your nose does something, the heart also does something, but whenever you say when you point there instead. Why? So I told him, the soul lives there. That's why you point. Nobody teaches you that. You just point there because that's where the soul is. Unfortunately, he didn't believe me. That's another story. Yeah, but at least, as my spiritual master always says, they will hear and they will file it away. And by Krishna's mercy, something will happen later on in their life to point to it that, oh, actually, it is true. Everybody points right here when you say, where are you? Or when something really matters to you a lot, they go like this. When even athletes, when they become successful, whatever it is, they success all the time. All the time. This is why they do it. The soul is there. So, this passage is saying, some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, some hear of him as amazing, while others, after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So some look on the soul as amazing. We have every reason to see the soul as amazing when we know what even a little bit about what the soul can actually do. The soul's life. Unfortunately, we, the souls in this material world, are not living the full life that the soul is used to living in the spiritual world, in its abode. But the soul is very much alive. It's the body that's not alive. And in this situation, in the purport is described, the soul can be in a body of a big body. The soul can be in a big tree. The soul can also be in a germ. Very small and very large. Now, it is described in the Shastra that the soul maintains the same size, even in a large body or in a small body. But obviously, if it maintains the same size and it can be in a small body, then the soul is small, not size. In a large body, it can remain small, but in a small body, it has to be a smaller in size than that. Okay? The soul is described in simple language as 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. It's really atomic in size, very, 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 very small. So small that it can in fact fit into the bodies of germs, which we can hardly even see. And in the purport is described, millions of them can fit into 1 inch space, 1 square, cubic inch, we should say, space. So the soul is atomic in size, but it is that soul that makes the body function. So that already is amazing. That 1/10,000th tip of a hair size makes all kinds of bodies. The body of a gorilla, the body of an elephant, the body of a tree, and then the body of a bacterium all function. The soul is what makes the body function. The body really is not a live thing. It's a machine, and machines can be repaired. That's why when our bodies, we can either repair it indirectly or directly. Directly is done by the surgeons. They actually go after the body itself, and indirectly by taking different tablets and so on. Okay? All of that. So that's to repair the body, to keep the body active. And as soon as the soul comes out, then the body is no longer active. All the parts may be there, but then we call it a corpse. The body is not functioning anymore. So, the soul, 1/10,000th the tip of a hair, is not the normal size of a soul. It's not. In the material world, it has been made to that size. You can say, our imagination would say it has been squished to that size. But see, we can't think material though, because the soul is not material. So it can expand, it can be little, but in the material world, because we are here being envious towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the material world is in fact a house of correction. Material world is jail. So if anybody is worrying why there are always anxieties, and Krishna, God, is supposed to be so kind, so loving, and merciful, and if you add all those qualities up, then why this wonderful Krishna has us in a place where there's so much anxiety, where there's so much suffering, where there's so much inhumanity and cruelty to people? It may not happen to us directly, but we certainly hear about it in the news. The last thing I heard sometimes lately I've been putting my car to a radio station that talk about things happening around the world. And I know, I was telling my wife when we were coming, El Salvador has been through quite a bit of wars in the past. Now what happens in the wars, and when the wars are over, because at the time the wars are going on, many of the men, they have weapons and they're fighting. But when the war is over, nobody goes around to collect the weapons. The weapons are still with them. And basically, if you point a weapon at somebody, you can get them to do whatever you want them to do, because they're afraid they will die if you pull the trigger, therefore they will do whatever. So that's what's happened. A lot of the young men, they form gangs, there is no work, and therefore they're going after the people and taking things from them with the guns. And the worst part of it is, they even got to the point where they know about tolls. I was coming, we played tolls on the turnpike. So now they've set up an area they call a toll. Not on the streets, in the neighborhood. People going home have to go by that neighborhood, you go by that path, you pay them before they allow you to go to your house. And if you say you won't pay them, that's the end of you. They will kill you. Literally going on. I couldn't believe it when I heard it in the news. And I don't listen to the news that often, but sometimes I do in fact wonder what's going on outside. And those stations that bring news, I don't watch the regular TV, but the other ones that we talk about the whole world, a lot of things going on, the ones that you don't hear about, every now and then I listen to those. So, this situation that the soul is small, that's just life here in the material world. But when the soul returns to the spiritual world, it does in fact expand to its full capacity. And it's bigger than even our size, like this spiritual world. We are like little pygmies compared to the sizes of the spiritual world. Okay? And so, and not only that, as we said so many times in the Shastra, the soul, I shouldn't say it, actually he is sent here. He is everlasting, no death, only physical body dies. He has all knowledge, which means no school. Okay? That's what it means. And he's always, always happy. The highest happiness there can be. And so the soul is, in Sanskrit we say Satchidananda, eternal, full of knowledge, and full of bliss. The word bliss is chosen carefully. Bliss means the highest happiness that there can be. And so it is so wonderful in the spiritual world that, as it's described, the talking is like singing, and the walking is like dancing. That's a happy group of people, if you ask me. And the majority of the souls are, in fact, in the spiritual world. The material world may seem big to us, but actually is a few people compared to those in the spiritual world that are here. And Krishna is always sending millions of souls from the spiritual world to the material world to help turn the minds of those who are material world, who are ready to get out, who are feeling the anxiety and the suffering, to go back, to prepare them to go back to the spiritual world. Those are called bounty hunters. Srila Prabhupada was one of them, the Parampara, all of them, practically one of them, telling us how to get out. In this age, it's Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So repeated chanting of the Lord's name connects us and purifies us. The Lord, in the Shikshashtaka, it says that the Supreme Lord has put all his energies into his holy name. The Lord is also absolute. So Krishna's name is Krishna. When you chant Hare Krishna, you actually have Krishna. It's not that you're just pronouncing Krishna's name. His name, we can't be like that. We have shirts, we have houses, but Krishna's paraphernalia is Krishna. Krishna's name is Krishna. Krishna's pastimes are Krishna. All of that. That's what's called the absolute platform. Now I know that in our minds it's hard to put that together, but then we are not Krishna. That's why we're not Krishna. He can be like that while we cannot. That is the difference. The individual soul and the super soul. So, material life is actually not going to be pleasant for us. It's never fully pleasant for us. As a matter of fact, Srila Prabhupada described, what we call happiness is not happiness at all. Because we don't know the happiness in the spiritual world. We don't know that. We've forgotten that. So what we're going through here, a little bit, we say, oh, we're happy. But actually, all that we're trying to do, Srila Prabhupada says, we are in a suffering condition. And we're trying to counteract the suffering. That's what we call happiness. And he gave an example. I was listening to a lecture. He gave an example. Suppose it's very cold. Well, our bodies can't take this winter type weather. So a person that's got money buys a very nice overcoat. And he looks nice in the coat. Not only just looks nice in the coat, but actually the coat's function is to protect the person from the cold. But because people see that you're wearing a nice coat, then he's happy he's wearing a nice coat, forgetting that it's actually because of the cold weather that he's wearing it. It's not something to be happy about. It's actually doing the work of relieving you from getting cold. This is the stuff we have. Our houses give us shelter from the weather. That's what they do. Even though we say nice house, I'm happy I have a nice house, but its real function is that. And you lock your door at night because you're afraid somebody will come in and break into the house. That tells you that you're not in a wonderful situation anyway, no matter how nice your house is. That is the reality. They don't close their doors in the spiritual world. They do not. The door is actually alive. In the spiritual world it is. It's in the neutrality, grass. The door is very much alive. And the grass is alive. And then it's a fulgent to boot. We don't have any fulgent anything here. So this is a situation that we're in temporarily. And those who are pure devotees from the spiritual world, as I mentioned earlier, millions are sent because there are so many universes and so many planets in the universe. There are billions of them. Therefore, if only a few are here on earth and a few are on another planet and so on, but if you multiply it by a whole lot of planets in the material universe, that's a whole lot of people that have come from the spiritual world trying to get people to go back. So that is the situation. And it's a rotating situation where Baba has come, for example, and he is left. Then somebody else comes, and they leave. And somebody else, and it happens all around. Therefore, in Bhakti Gopakumara saw it. So many millions coming to the material universe. They are all pure devotees now. They can't help like what Srila Prabhupada did. And so many people who are also going back. They've left the bodies, material bodies, and they're going back to the spiritual world. So Krishna is always sending help. Even in religions, he has sent people based on what they want to be able to do in spirituality. He sends people. For example, in Christianity, and that's the popular one around the world, Jesus is the main personality. Okay? Now there's so much Maya in there, they don't even have good definition whether he's God or whether the Son of God. We won't even get into that. Okay? But he's here, and in the Bible, he did in fact mention that he didn't tell everything about God, his Father. He didn't. It's in John chapter 16, verse 12. I even remember exactly. He says that I have much to tell you, but you're not able to bear it. And the implication is he didn't say everything about it. He says, I have much to tell you, but you're not able to bear it. So he wasn't hiding more information about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He just says, you're not ready to take it. So I'll just tell you what you can take. So he taught, but at a limited level. And that's why Krishna says, you can't know Krishna much from religion. So even though religion talks about God, Krishna says, Harva Dharma Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vaja. Abandon all varieties of religion and surrender to me. Because Krishna owns everything, and when you surrender to the one that owns everything, how can you go wrong? How can you go wrong? Surrender to me. Before he said that in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, I am the beginning and the end of everything. The mountains, I'm the Himalayas, you name it, I'm the topmost. To bring it as that I'm the topmost in everything. And if you surrender to me, then you don't have any fear. So religion isn't bad in one sense. It talks about God, but it doesn't talk deep enough about the Lord. In fact, there no transcendental material is mentioned at all in religions. Because the religion doesn't talk about the science of the soul. This person was a friend of mine. We went to a Catholic high school together. He doesn't know where the soul is. I didn't know where the soul is until I came to Krishna consciousness. He's not in Krishna consciousness, so he knows there's a soul, but he doesn't know where it is. And since we are friends and he takes me for granted, I'm telling you, I'm not a preacher to him, so he decided, no, I don't believe you. But that's because he's a friend. Okay? If he was looking at me as an authority that didn't know him and I was saying the soul was in the heart area, he probably would have believed it. Because he also does this. Obviously, he hits his chest too, like everybody does. So, material life is not going to be pleasant for the soul. We might as well accept it the way it is, because the soul is like a fish out of water. A fish's natural place is water. So no matter what they do when they're out of water, they can't be totally comfortable. That's not going to happen. So as I said, Sri Prabhupada says, we're just counteracting the suffering in this world. And that's what we call happiness. Spirituality is a solution to material problems. It is a solution. Because the spirituality is what will tell you, actually, some of the things that Jesus said. Be in this world, but be not of this world. In other words, detached from this world. Whatever you have materially, you should use it in the service of Krishna, directly or indirectly. Then your life is becoming more successful because the transcendental system notices everything that we do. The Lord, as my spiritual master says, Bhakti, he likes to remind us, the Lord is that close. He's in our heart. The Paramatma is in our heart. So he doesn't miss anything. So whatever we're given, if we use it partly or fully in the service of the Supreme Personality, do that, then we are in the right mindset. Okay? Right mindset. So there are many people, actually quite a few things here. Some of them I'm not going to mention. It's almost 8:30. I know we stopped around this time. So I'm just going to wrap it up. It's important to have faith. Okay. A lot of people don't know God. We are fortunate that the Lord has revealed himself in the deity that we can actually serve him, so we can develop love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, because, for example, if you're trying to go someplace and you don't know the way, how to get there, what do you normally do? Prabhupada explains, if you don't know God, then it will have to take somebody who knows God to explain it to you. Now, the Lord himself has said in Bhagavad Gita, the spiritual master is my representative. So, you inquire from the spiritual master. And that's why he's saying, you have no trouble serving Krishna himself in the spiritual world. We were envious of him. And so the spiritual master is, in a sense, the one that tells us about Krishna, but he also is a person who we know how to love Krishna. They would like to love Krishna, but they don't know how. Not yet. Because love is a feeling that develops, it comes from the soul. We're pointing the heart because the soul is in the heart area. And it begins from learning to love devotees first. When you begin to learn to love devotees, then from the service that you provide from loving devotees, now, for some of us, that will not happen this lifetime. But one thing that can happen, when we say that will not happen in this lifetime, it means getting all the way to Krishna Prema, which is the very last in the series of gradually becoming better and better, more purified. Now, the spiritual world. This Srila Prabhupada said. Then I heard it from the mouth of the Advaita Swami. He said there was a meeting. At that time, they were only Srila Prabhupada disciples. Srila Prabhupada was the spiritual master, and everybody else at that time was his disciple. So they had a meeting of the leaders. Jayadvaita Swami was one of the leaders. And in the middle of in the discussion with Srila Prabhupada, the 3 steps for development came up. Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Sambandha is a relationship. Abhideya is the actual service. Okay? And Prayojana, devotees relating among each other. Okay? And the service. So if we have good relationship, Srila Prabhupada is saying, and Jayadvaita Swami repeated it, and that's how I heard it. If we have good relationship with devotees, and we perform our activities, devotional service, sincerely from our heart, that's enough for Krishna to allow us back to the spiritual world. Which means Sambandha, and some of us never got there and they're already back in the spiritual world. I know some people who have actually left this material world, and when you leave material world, that soul is met by the spiritual master. The spiritual masters have the ability to connect with the soul when the soul leaves that body. So of that particular devotee, though, that his disciple. And so it's meet. And the decision is made. Yamaraj has nothing to do with it. You know, guys, the devotee, you don't worry about Yamaraj. Yamaraj is out of the picture. Okay? So Ajamil's story, or it tells you Yamaraj is out of the picture. So that's when the decision is made. Will that person be allowed back in the spiritual world? Krishna makes the final decision for everybody. Krishna makes the final. The spiritual master becomes like the defense attorney. Literally, he's not prosecution, he's defense attorney. Says everything to try to convince Krishna to allow the soul to go back. Now, Krishna is very kind. So the relationship has to be good between the disciple and the spiritual master for the spiritual master to even want to speak on your behalf. If you make the spiritual master upset, how is he going to say, yes, we have to do? Now, Haridas Thakur says, the only time you disobey the spiritual master or you even dump the spiritual master is if the spiritual master himself doesn't follow the rules of spirituality. If he gets into Maya, then you should never follow that particular spiritual master. Now that sometimes happens, but it's rare. Okay? Because the process is very simple. Spiritual master is the one that speaks for the devotee. Therefore, it makes sense that our relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master has to be not only a good one, but a strong one. And it comes from obeying the spiritual master, hearing him and obeying him. As soon as spiritual master is all for Krishna, his business is 100% Krishna. So if we don't, and he begins to get upset, that means that he's not going to say much to defend you. And Krishna knows everything. It's not like the spiritual master is going to try to put you down. Krishna already knows that to any lower body, but they put you back in another physical body and back in the material world. To go on with the anxiety and everything, start over, be a baby, and crawl backwards and crawl forwards and learn your ABCs and all that, and entire thing over again. And try to make it in the material world another time. And so that drags and drags, and you know how it is like. We are at the mercy of whatever is happening. We are at the mercy of the weather. We don't have much say. We don't have much say. Things may happen well, things may not happen well. But one thing that happens is if the person returns, Krishna is going to make sure, one, the baby has to be connected at some point with Krishna again. That they make sure to do. Once you're in Krishna consciousness, the next life you are going to be in Krishna consciousness again. Now, the other thing is, whatever Maya, things that were negative, that made it not possible for the spiritual master to plead your case for you to get the mercy and go back to the spiritual world, those things will be adjusted. If too much money got us uninterested in Krishna, in the next life there won't be so much money. But then there will be more of a situation where you will get more spirituality. So they will put you into a very fixed up family. Brahminical family. Like that. Now, mentioning that may be disappointing some people that if you have money last life and you're not going to have, but see, Krishna has already said, Name Bhakta Pranashati. Arjuna declared my devotee never what? Perishes. So more money, little money, still you will be in a situation, or we will be in a situation where we would be, in fact, would be protected by Krishna. No matter what kind of yuga we're in, we're protected by Krishna. But the point is, life gets worse and worse, so why come back? When you could go back and be in bliss and be in full knowledge and not have to worry about death and not have to worry about anything, and whatever you desire, the Kalpavriksha trees give you. So there doesn't need to be any envy. Somebody's eating a mango, so you go to Kalpavriksha and say, I want a mango. Whatever you want. You don't have to worry about it. So the people actually are more giving. Everybody is very deeply loving. There are some things in the material world we can't do now. But in the spiritual world, everybody does. You don't even think about it. Here there are restrictions. There are restrictions of marriage. You cannot relate to somebody else's spouse. You can relate to the spouse, but there are boundaries. Some things you can't go too far into because the person is married. Or there are certain rules you can't do that. There are government rules that's also there. You have to pay taxes. Nobody pays taxes in the spiritual world. So many things are there that we have allowed. Well, I guess we don't have a choice, but we live in the world this way. So there are so many restrictions, for legally, morally, and so on, that don't apply in the spiritual world. For example, you can't hug, so hugging, it's something as simple as this. Hugging. People do hug here, but you have to know the person, and you don't hug your entire body, and the restrictions is all understood. In the spiritual world, they hug full body. And I mean tightly, full body. The person doesn't have to be in spots. Krishna hugs like that. He's the best hugger. Just like that. And my spiritual master says, if somebody hasn't met another person in a long time and they meet, he described it, roll, still hugging each other. And who does it here? Who would even dare do something like that here? They're going to say, what's something wrong with them? But that's commonplace in the spiritual world. So we really have left home and we're trying to manage over here. We can't be totally happy here. The soul's happiness is back in the spiritual world. Therefore, if the power of spirituality will be accepted by Krishna. So while we have this chance, just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If we don't chant that, we really are cheating ourselves. That's what it boils down to. Cheating ourselves. The devotee is supposed to chant 64 rounds. So the Prabhupada has brought it down to 16 rounds. That happens to be 1/4. The more you chant, the more you think about Krishna. You're mentioning Krishna's name so many times. That's regular advertising. The more things that a particular company has more money and advertises more often on TV, they're going to buy his stuff, whatever it is. That's the one people are going to focus on more. So the more you chant, same thing. You advertise Krishna to your mind. The more chanting, the more you think about Krishna. And then it gets to a point where it becomes a reflex. And for us, death is not a bad thing. I know when someone leaves, we miss their company, and obviously we get emotional for that. But for a devotee, death is Krishna that's come in disguise as death. But he really is coming to take us back to the spiritual world. Or, if it's not the spiritual world, a better situation, closer and closer to the spiritual world. It is in fact non-devotees that death is trouble. Because death is a decision about when the next punishment is going to be and how they're going to set them up for the next punishment. Devotees don't deal with that. And so the last thing I want to leave with you is a statement made by His Holiness Radha Govinda to the spiritual world. Everybody in this room is on their way back to the spiritual world. The only difference is when you get there. When? If you take it seriously, it will be this lifetime. But if not, you get put another physical body than you were previous life. In fact, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur Maharaj has said, the average, this is Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, the average lifetime on the earth when somebody hears about Krishna and says yes to Krishna is 3. 3 lifetimes. And millions of years, Millions of lifetimes? We don't remember. Somebody told me they read and said, I, the soul here, was in Atlantis. I'm not kidding you. You know about Atlantis? The lost continent? You may not know about it, huh? Atlantis was like almost 12,000 years ago. Yeah, I was here. Somebody that can see back told me I was a scientist. I'm still a scientist now. Same game, right? Here in the material world. So, yeah, 3 lifetimes. But why make it 3? You can go in this lifetime. So the soul is dying to get free. When you hear about Krishna, take it seriously, because all the happiness you want, it's actually in the spiritual world. And this is the way to the spiritual world, the chanting of the holy name and hearing. Any questions? Okay. The Buddha is still there? I don't know.
If you go to, like, if you leave the body, so how can you go to like God now? Back to God.
This has been talked about by Krishnadas Kaviraj, the one who Chaitanya Charitamrita. The situation is, the regular situation is, you have to have a spiritual master. The devotee with faith hears about Krishna and then associates with devotees, because devotees are the ones that are going to keep you in Krishna consciousness. Non-devotees aren't interested in Krishna. And so with that, based on Guru, Krishna is the one that gives a guru. We don't know, I certainly wouldn't know what's going on in a person's personal life, but it's still, that doesn't even matter. The important point is, whatever you do in Krishna consciousness, take it seriously. Now, if you're hankering to get a guru, effectively, in one particular couple's case, and they were in Harrisburg, their son was taken to India to a particular guru. And without the couple, the parents knowing, the son asked the spiritual master to initiate his parents. It was the little boy that asked the guru to meet the spiritual master. He reserves the right to, dangle a carrot. He does it a lot. He does it to everybody. He does it to gopis, does it to cowherd boys. He will do it to us too. But when your heart is in that mindset, or when your heart is, I shouldn't say heart and mind. Well, mind is on it, your heart is on it, that I'd like to get a spiritual master. Krishna already knows. Krishna already knows. And just take the process. Those things are there. Now, if you're an addict, and I went through it too, not about caffeine. Everybody has something that they can't quite get over. Just like any addict, what is the situation? You take it day by day, not to fall into it. And so you speak to the mind. Raghunath Das Goswami has written books about it, Mana Shiksha. You speak to the mind and get away from those places that would put you in that situation. If you know whatever your situation, everybody that's a conditioned soul that's initiated now. To 2 verses from, of all hymns, Catholic hymns. One verse, we used to sing it. We just sing in high school, we just go through the words like, yeah, they want us to sing, so we'll finish singing. But now, those matters to me very much that, even though I don't play that, but I remember those words in that particular hymn. It says, Lord of sin, just for today. This is a person that's taking it one word and deed just for today. So you take it one day at a time, whatever the issue is, one day at a time. And don't beat yourself too hard on one time. And one thing you certainly don't give an excuse for is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You must chant. The world are not chanting, so you're better off than them. Don't say, oh, I'm not a 16 hours there for maybe. No, you're not. You're chanting Hare Krishna, you're mentioning Krishna's name. You're better than all the people, billions of people who aren't chanting. And you're Krishna's devotee. And take consolation in the fact that Radha Gopinath Maharaj has said, you will go back to the spiritual world. And he has disciples who have gone back to the spiritual world. Master, and then if it's happening today, it will happen. It will happen. Krishna already knows. And Krishna already wants us back in the spiritual world, more so than we even want to go. We're trying to manage here. And he said, what's wrong with them? The happiness is actually in the spiritual world. So yes, that will happen at some point. Will happen at some point. It may be a good idea to talk to some senior devotees also, if you're thinking that way. It tends to speed up. Questions will come up for things to crystallize in your mind as to who you may be interested in somebody, or you may not. But that discussion will help think about a particular person. And once you get the idea of who that particular guru is, then it's just a matter of that particular person contacting those who are close to and working with that particular guru. And that's all it takes. That's all. And she knows what to do now. She did in fact get the 16 rounds though. If you want a guru, you should be chanting the 16 rounds, because they will definitely say do that. If they get you to go to the initiation, you're gonna have to vow to say how many rounds you're gonna chant. 16 rounds minimum. They'll expect that you're already doing it, that you've gotten comfortable with it. So if you're not doing that and you want initiation, go to one more round. The whole month, same round. So you just add 5 more minutes, or 6 or 7 more minutes, depending on the pace at which you go to your time. Next month, 1 more round. The next month is going to stop, because he won't. He'll try to get you one way or the other. But more the time you're chanting, then it becomes steady. And then you associate more with devotees. And again, if there are principles, there are parts of the principles that give you issue, take it day by day. Small goals will take you from it. And then the next day, the next day, the next day, like that. Until it becomes a habit that you don't do it anymore. Because it can be. Okay. Sometimes spouses have to talk the matter over, because sometimes the regulated principle is something that as a couple they can't. And I know some people who sleep in separate rooms because they haven't gotten over it yet. Yes, illicit sex is there, but the sexual desire is still there. It's not gone. And that is when you take this process seriously, Krishna opens your heart. The real happiness is from the soul. For one sake, Krishna opens your heart, means the soul becomes happy. The happiness of the soul, there's nothing here that compares to it in the material world. Nothing. Not even sex life. So it is possible to actually, and Srila Prabhupada says, don't beat yourself. That's Srila Prabhupada. The key word he always uses, gradually in the effort, day by day, day by day, like that. That's all I'm talking about. We're also going through, everybody goes through that. Some are a little bit ahead and some are not, but we all, that's Radha Govinda Maharaj said, eventually we're all going back. Hare Krishna. Just long answer to the question, but I apologize. Any other? That's shorter. When a person leaves a body, just to recap, the spiritual master, the person, the soul, and Krishna meet. So if Krishna allows that person to go back to the spiritual world, the spiritual master knows about it. That's how we hear about it. Okay, it's not announced to everybody, but somebody that would know or not, we found out. So this is the spiritual master that actually says it. But it doesn't make a general announcement, though. Usually a few people do find out. Yeah. Now, sometimes, I said I was going to be a short answer, but some spiritual masters, and you don't know which is which, and you don't need to know which is which. Some spiritual masters are directed from the spiritual world. Like Sri Prabhupada, everybody knows. But there are some spiritual masters here who are also direct from the spiritual world, and some spiritual masters who are not. They've just improved here and become worthy of handling that position. Okay, those from the spiritual world, they definitely go. When a person dies, they go and be them with them. But those who are not here from the spiritual world, usually they don't. So how does that happen? Well, now Krishna can expand himself to 16,108 wives, even though the other person is not the guru, but he looks exactly like the guru. It's Krishna himself that does that. Okay? Now you say, but how is the discussion? Krishna knows everybody's mind. It's not a big deal. If you weren't good to him, he knows. Even though he's playing the role of a spiritual master, he knows. He knows. If your real guru was so mad at you, he's not going to help you go back to the spiritual world. Krishna's going to play the same role, tell you the same thing. You did this, you did that, you did this. That's why you have to go for another life. So it's done. It's covered. That's why it's not important to know which everybody joins them. So what difference does it make? Whether that particular guru you have came to the spiritual world or not. It doesn't make any difference. The parampara, back in Srila Prabhupada, everybody is a spiritual
But
hope.
we have.
Oh, okay, yeah, I want to add to it. Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Just like there's a Vishnu Tattva, right? There is a Tattva. Bhagwan is a Tattva.
Hmm.
Vishnu Tattva, Vishnu Tattva. But just like that, we have Guru Tattva.
Hmm.
As Ruji said, it's not important that which Guru came from where. It's more important how you are serving the Guru Tattva.
Absolutely. How you're serving
That's
it.
why we have Parampara. It's a total science.
Hmm. It doesn't make any difference. It's still Srila Prabhupada. Because remember, I'll say just one thing and start. Remember, the rounds are supposed to be 64. Who changed it? Srila Prabhupada. Brought it down to 16. So you really have to be a Prabhupada person to be allowed anyway. You're chanting 16 rounds, you want to go back to the spiritual world, but you still feel it because Srila Prabhupada allowed you to chant a minimum of 16 rounds. And he's a pure devotee. So what difference does it make? It's still through him. It's still through him. So we just serve Guru and serve devotees. That's all. Okay. Any other? Okay, let's stop here. Srila Prabhupada.